It doesn't matter which side you were on in the 16-bit war, you have to agree the Super Nintendo was the home of a lot of great beat'em ups. Sure, we have the most famous that everyone talks about, Turtles, Final Fight, Batman, Rushing Beat. We have Return of Double Dragon, which everyone knows is the best game ever, but we have some, let's say, hidden gems that not everyone is aware of. Hello my friends and welcome to The Flying Kick. I am Savino and today I bring to you 5 beat'em ups that, while not as good as the classics we all know and love, are pretty fun. Check them out. Let's start with one that I already reviewed on the channel. Insert a shameless plug here. If you never played this one, I have good news. You can get it right now for around 10 bucks on Steam, GOG, Xbox, PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. But let's talk about the game. Released in 1995 only in Japan, Gourmet Sentai Barayaru, or Gourmet Warriors as is known here in the West, is one of the weirdest beat'em ups you will find on the Nintendo 16-bit machine. Probably one of the weirdest games, period. The story is not dissimilar from other apocalyptic games, you know the deal. After World War III, a city resurges from the ashes, but an evil organization is trying to destroy it, but 3 heroes and blah blah blah. But here the city is called Zeus Heaven Magic City, the evil organization is called Beth, and the heroes are called Bonjour, Mademoiselle and Très bien, which is basically how you salute a young girl in France. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I recommend today. Oh yeah, and these are the enemies you will find here. But aside from all the weirdness, which, come on, it's a plus, Gourmet Warriors is a pretty unique beat'em up. Here you can beat your enemies as you would do in any beat'em up, but the main attraction here is the grabbing mechanics. Here, every time you hit an enemy, you see sparks coming out of their heads. These are the enemies' stun levels, and the more star, the easier it is for you to grab them and hold them for longer. After grabbing your enemies, you have a ton of different commands you can pull to unleash the most insane moves you ever seen. It's absurdly fun to pull these moves, and most importantly, the combat feels solid and the controls are very responsive. Gourmet Warriors also have a cooking minigame, hence the name. Every time you beat a level, you will have the chance to mix 2 of the many ingredients you will find around the game, and this can grant you a lot of buffs, but also some debuffs if you don't know what you're doing. It's a game of trial and error, but a fun and interesting one. Gourmet Warriors is also a beautiful game, the sprites are a good size and have a lot of details, I mean, you can flex around to show off all that good detailing. The backgrounds are nice, very colorful and have some nice parallax effects. The music, well, the music is also a bit weird. While there are some good tracks here, most of the music is a bit off, being too calm for this type of game. As I said, you can find this game on modern platforms for around 10 bucks, or if you want to play it on original hardware, you can download the translation that I heard is pretty accurate and put the ROM on a EverDrive or something. If you are a collector, this game can cost a lot of money, with the CIB being sold for between 200 and 800 bucks on eBay. Also exclusive to Japan, this one is a game that I rarely see people talking about. Developed by Arsis and released in July 1994, Zeque Den tells the story of... So yeah, there is no translation available for this game, but apparently it tells something about a prophecy about some evil stuff and how people suffered because of it. There's a war and some heroes appears. I mean, you basically know what this is all about. Aside from the intro, the game will also have some dialogue between the main characters and some of the enemies, but they are not required to enjoy the game. This is a beat'em up after all. Zeque Den, as you can see, is a single-player 2D beat'em up with some platform elements that is extremely challenging, but also extremely rewarding when you get the hang of it. The game's structure is pretty simple. You walk to the right until you bump into 1 or 2 enemies, beat them, wait for the next duel, and advance. Pretty simple stuff, but when your enemies are extremely brutal, capable of axing half of your health with a single blow, things begin to change. Zeque Den is a game that doesn't give too many chances for mistake. Enemies are tough to beat, some of them will come with a lot of health and pretty destructive combos. You need to think fast, come up with the best strategy to defeat them quickly and use all the moves you have at your disposal, and you have a good amount of them. Each one of the characters has an attack, a jump, a block and a special, but also each one of them will behave differently. The little one with gloves, for example, is pretty strong, capable of hitting enemies on the head when jumping and has some very strong ranged attacks. This one with the purple hair, I can't read their names by the way, can freeze enemies in place and can hit enemies multiple times when jumping on their heads. She also has the best reach from the trio, but can be pretty hard to master. And last, this one here, which is my favorite, is capable of sliding on the ground and also has this pretty awesome aerial attack. They also have this special that can be upgraded when you find a scroll and can be refilled by kanjis that will spawn when defeating certain enemies. Bosses can be pretty brutal if you don't know how to beat them, and it will truly be a matter of trial and error. The game offers a few continues, 5 of them, and you can earn lives with each certain amount of points. It's a fair game when it comes to the amount of chances you have to beat it, but you will die a lot, that's for sure. Graphically, the game is beautiful, with some nice and detailed sprites, beautiful and vast vistas, and some nice effects like this rain that gets worse as you progress, or this level with distortions on the lake. The soundtrack is also pretty good, it has that traditional oriental melody, and it fits the game perfectly. Zeque Den was never released to anything aside from the Super Famicom, which is a shame, so you have to play this one as you can. For collectors, a CIB can reach $200, but they are rare to find around. Loose cartridges are more easy to find and they will cost you around $50 to $80. Released in 1995 for the Super Nintendo and developed by Bean Software, Wild.c.a.t.s was based on a superhero comic book of the same name created by Jim Lee. I really don't know what the comic is about and honestly I didn't feel the will to research, but the game tells the story of a certain Lord Hellspawn, the leader of the Demonite, who is about to complete his battleship and destroy the Wildcats for good. To avoid that, you have to take Spartan, Maul and Warblade on different missions to save, well, their lives. After all, Lord Hellspawn is about to acquire a certain orb that will help him to defeat the Wildcats once and for all. Super cliché, I love it. Wild.c.a.t.s, despite being a 1995 game, is single player only, but that's probably because the game, much like X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, has a set of exclusive levels for each one of the characters. Actually, the game plays pretty much like X-Men, even some of the moves could be traced to that game, like how Spartan can shoot laser blast like Cyclops or Warblade can climb walls like Wolverine. And like that game, you will have some variations on the gameplay here, like some platforming or wall climbing and things like that. While the controls here aren't stellar, these moments aren't hard to get the hang of and you'll be able to conquer any obstacle with just a few tries. The combat here is pretty interesting. All 3 characters have a primary and a secondary attack, a jump and a throw button. You also have bombs that can clear the screen from enemies, but for some reason they decided to use select for that. And there's no place in telling you that, not in the manual, not in the options, it's super weird. The combat is a bit janky, I won't deny it, but you have enough moves to make things fun. Spartan can shoot lasers on the ground and while in the air, Warblade has an amazing reach and can quote-unquote combo the enemies a bit, and Maul can act like a bulldozer and throw enemies left and right like they were nothing. It's pretty fun. Wild.c.a.t.s isn't a long game and, more importantly, not a hard one. The game will frequently throw health packs your way, both from breakable objects and from enemies. Bombs are also pretty easy to find, so you can easily stockpile them to clear a hard boss. And while you may get stuck in one place or another thanks to some of the level's layouts, there is nothing here that will require a map to help you. Visually, Wild.c.a.t.s is pretty good. The game looks amazing, there are some nice characters, great vistas and some pretty nice effects like the rain in the first level. Yeah, true, most of the time you will be walking up and down boring corridors, but in the moments when this game shines, it truly shines. Wild.c.a.t.s may not be a fantastic beat'em up, but it is a pretty fun one that can be perfect for playing on a Sunday afternoon. And this is another one that was never released anywhere else as far as I know. Finding the original cartridge is not very easy. So far I only saw some loose ones being sold for around 60 bucks. Another Japan exclusive that is pretty fun and you should try is Kamen Raider, based on the famous tokusatsu, which I know nothing about, so I wanna ask the fans to forgive me for what I'm about to say. As far as I know, the game doesn't have a translation patch, so I made the story as I went. Here, Patrick Star went to the dark side of the force and started to rob stores on the surface world. Dirt Harry, doing what he does best, wanted to stop this unlucky punk, but his kids appeared at the last minute, reminding him he was too old for this shit. So he called his grasshopper friends to arrest Patrick and deport him to Bikini Bottom. Yeah, I should definitely learn Japanese. At first look, Kamen Rider may appear pretty boring. You have just a single basic combo on aerial attack and a grab. The hitboxes are a bit wonky and the stun animations aren't the greatest. You can transform into Kamen Rider after watching this animation every single time. But the combat doesn't change much, as I said, at first glance. What really shines in this game is when you enter this option here before starting the game. Here you can set your L and R buttons to perform all sort of crazy combos. You see, here you have the options of combining 16 different attacks in these 3 boxes, and you can do whatever you want with it with different results, some better than others. These combos are extremely powerful and honestly pretty broken, but it's very fun to toy around with them to see what you can come up with. With these combos, there is no enemy capable of stopping you, and while the game is still challenging thanks to how broken the collisions are, beating enemies with all these crazy acrobatics can be pretty entertaining. Every time you start a level, you will be in your human form, but you can transform into Kamen Rider anytime you want by pressing X. Only as Kamen you can use the combos, but since both forms have their own life bars, it's wise to stay in your human form as long as you can. But at least once per level, you will be forced to change into Kamen. After beating a boss, you need to transform to be able to destroy him. These finishers are pretty cool and each boss has a unique one. I imagine fans of the show will love it. The game, as I said, isn't the best around, but this list is about fun, not about technical prowess. The levels are not big and here you will be jumping from one place to another pretty quickly after beating just a handful of enemies. The levels here, instead of being a single long level, are divided into smaller arenas. A bit weird at first, but you will get used to it pretty quickly. Graphically, the game looks great. I like especially the backgrounds, which look pretty realistic with some good lighting details. They are a bit flat for my taste, but overall the game looks pretty good. Kamen Rider is another game that was never released for anything aside from the Super Famicom, so you will have to play it as you can because finding the original cartridge is pretty hard these days. Developed by Sunsoft and released for the Super Nintendo in May 1994, The Pirates of Dark Water is a beat'em up based on a cartoon show of the same name that aired between 1991 and 1993, starring no other than the amazing Tim Curry.
Space!
The story here is loosely based on the show. In the cartoon, our hero, Ren, and his crew sail around the world of Mare looking for 13 treasures of rule, while in the game they were reduced to 7, probably so the game can have a humane length. The game has actually 8 levels, since you have to find a compass first to guide you to the place you need to be. Aside from the intro and ending, there isn't much of a story here to get in your way. Between levels you get a nice Mode 7 map showing where you're heading next, and that's all the interruption you get. Gameplay-wise, Pirates of Dark Waters is what you would expect from a beat'em up from this era, but here some nice tweaks make this game unique. You have 3 characters to pick: Tula, the weak and fast girl, Ren, the all-arounder, and Yos, the slow and strong tank. All characters have a weak attack, a strong attack, a jump, and a desperation move, and they all can run and grab enemies. Your strong attack can knock enemies down with a single hit, and it can be pretty useful against stronger enemies or even as a finisher for your basic combo. Your desperation move is pretty cool. It's your basic area attack, where only enemies in your vicinity will take damage, but it takes so little of your health that it's recommended using it without worrying too much. At the same time, the move doesn't give too much damage to the enemies, but will knock them down immediately. It's a pretty fair and balanced move. The enemies here are fun to engage too, they repeat a lot, but one cool thing is that variations from earlier enemies will present different behaviors, adding new moves to their set. So don't think just because you've seen an enemy with a different color, it means you can engage him in the same way. They aren't the smartest enemies, and will repeatedly fall into the same trap, but you can use this to your advantage and let their stupidity control the crowd for you. Pirates of Dark Waters isn't a hard game. The challenge is pretty fair, and while some of the bosses can give you trouble, they will become pretty manageable after you learn how to defeat them. The game is also pretty generous with life. You start the game with 3, but you will earn an extra one every 50,000 points, which is very few points in this game, and you also can find some 1-ups inside boxes. It's not hard to have 5 or more lives at any given moment in this game. While mostly fun, Pirates drags a bit when nearing its ending. The enemies on later levels start to get some pretty generous life bars, and beating them can take a while, especially when playing with Tula. It's not really a deal breaker, but it will require a bit of patience sometimes. Graphically, Pirates of Dark Water is okay at best. There are some nice distortion effects, some dramatic moments where the whole floor collapses, and some great parallax scrolling, but the colors are a bit muted and the characters are not as well made as the ones from many games from the same era. But the game is far from the ugliest on the system, it's just not as good as it probably could have been. This is, to no one's surprise, another game that was never released anywhere else. The collectors will have to spend a pretty penny, since the loose cartridge can be found for around $150 and the CIB for around $250. And that's it for the video, folks. I hope you enjoyed this list, and tell me in the comments if you played any of this game and if you happen to know any other fun beat'em up on the SNES that we all should take a look. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more beat'em up things in your life. I'll be back next Sunday, but until then, I hope you all have an awesome day, and remember, keep beat'em up.